Mic Drop Moments is sponsored by Grow Radio. Want to launch your own podcast? Grow Radio are here to help. Grow Radio has launched and supported countless podcasts, and they'd love to do the same for you. Just hit record and they'll handle the rest. No editing stress, no technical faff, just a great podcast released when you want. Need a little extra support? Grow Radio's workshops and courses make getting started easy. Let's bring your podcast to life. Message Grow Radio on social media or reach out to Gary Jones, the founder of Grow Radio. Let's make this happen. Welcome to Mic Drop Moments, and today I'm chatting with Bex Howe of To Consultancy. Welcome, Bex.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Now I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself because I am useless at this part and you will say it so much better than me.
So I'm Bex Howe. As Sandra said, I sort of founded To Consultancy, which essentially is about removing barriers for young people, enabling their practitioners to help remove those barriers so that they can live a happy and purposeful life that they want to.
Fantastic. Now, I'm going to take you back a little bit because you came into my world last year and you came to the Solopreneur Awards and you won a Solopreneur Award. So tell us about that and why you entered and what was behind that.
So, yeah, I mean, as you say, I joined your community for the Woman Who UK Awards initially and just loved being in the room. I'll be honest, I was terrified. Being in a room full of women is not I didn't think it was my thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a hen do lover. But I absolutely loved the atmosphere, the culture, the wonderful ladies I spoke with and got to listen to. I didn't win on that occasion, but it really didn't matter. It was just great to be there, and it just gave me a whole new way of looking at opportunity. So I did then. I joined the Let's Get Visible Academy.
Yeah.
Kind of did all the kind of the networking and the weekly, monthly interactions there, and then I entered the Solopreneur Awards. Why did I enter? I think the main reason, to be honest, was because I'd found the process of doing the Woman Who application really helpful for my own reflection. And it really helped me look through specific lenses because of the questions. And it was great to realise how much I had done, but also it was really great to recognise my own gaps, whether that be in terms of impact or whether that just be in terms of, oh, Bex, you don't really know about that yet. So that's kind of why I entered, and I did win. And it was, I mean, as you will know, Sandra, it was a really emotional moment. I had no previous thought of winning. I mean, you always hope you might, but no realistic thought of winning. And it was just amazing. It was just amazing to have that validation from people I really, really believe in and trust, but also I'd really admire. So it was wonderful.
Yeah. And you've sort of changed direction, not changed direction completely. I mean, you previously, years ago, in teaching, and you now do service a lot of education clients as well. But what has been the sort of mindset shift and the shift for you in business over the last 6 to 12 months?
So I think it's twofold. I think it kind of links to what I was speaking about earlier in terms of that belief in myself. And I think that my mindset has shifted because I've invested in myself, both personally but also professionally, like things like the Woman Who and the Amplify, but also other network groups, getting myself into the right rooms and listening. So I no longer feel imposter in most rooms. I still have the odd one where I just think, crikey, how did I get here? But generally speaking, I value myself and I value the message and the opportunity I can bring to others. And I think so that was the first kind of that piece of work, if you like, around me and how I viewed myself and my business and my skill. The other piece was around kind of just getting to be better at business and recognizing the things that were actually a complete waste of time for me whilst I'd done them and I'd enjoyed them, they really had no impact whatsoever on the business. But also recognizing my gaps and my own areas for development, and things like visibility and marketing were significant areas for development. So again, got myself into the right places, surrounded myself in the right rooms, and listened and learned.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the two big shifts, if you like. I think in terms of why I've changed, it's because very quickly, and I think this links back to sort of my proper job when I was when I was a PAYE. It links back to my work always had to be based on need. I wasn't going to do things that people didn't need,
Mm.
particularly children and young people. So the business has evolved because the needs of the young people and the practitioners has changed and evolved.
Yeah. And we'll talk about, let's talk about it now, but I want to talk about speaking as well. But let's talk about roots, leaves, and wings. Have I
Yeah,
got that right?
you have. Well done.
Which
No panda jokes in sight.
I just think it's just the most lovely name for a methodology, and it's something you've created. It's a whole curriculum-based thing. Tell us where that idea came from and what you've done with it.
So, I mean, having the privilege to work in lots of schools, I was increasingly seeing kind of the needs of young people becoming more extreme, more diverse, more significant in terms of number, and the practitioners becoming more frustrated and despondent, not because they didn't care, but because they didn't know what to do.
Mm.
And I was driving home from such a visit, and there was something on the radio, and it must have been Radio 2 because I don't admit to listening to Radio 4, even though I do sometimes. Um, and they were talking about something to do. Someone said a phrase about wings, and it was in sort of relation to kind of someone becoming successful and they'd got their wings
Yeah.
type thing. And I was I'm a great lover of the famous Christmas movie where the fairy gets his wings type thing. So I've always liked that sentiment of wings.
Clarence the Angel. Every time
Yes.
you hear a bell, an angel gets its wings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It wasn't a fairy at all. I'm sure you'd be very offended. And so I started thinking, and I was thinking, okay, everyone deserves to have wings, but what do they need in order to have their wings? And that's where I started thinking about the whole tree analogy and, okay, and worked backwards. So wings, I was thinking butterflies, really, even, and then I thought, well, leaves, and then I thought, but it all comes down to the roots. So that was kind of the thinking point. And I got home and I wrote it in my ideas book and didn't do anything with it, but it kept coming there. And so last summer I thought, right, okay, what is this going to look like? And sat down and wrote my curriculum.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I've watched that grow since we've been working together, which has been just phenomenal. And I can see that you light up when you talk about it as well.
Yeah, I do.
Let's talk a little bit about your speaking journey because we've been working on speaking and I've created some opportunities for you to have a go at speaking or whatever. And it's been lovely as well to watch your confidence grow. I did say to you very early on, I want you to be more Bex, which you've taken completely, and you're forging your way. And I've seen the confidence within you has just, I've seen you grow your own roots and leaves and wings, in the way you've. So how is the speaking? Because you're now getting opportunities to speak on stages. So how has that evolved, and have you grown in confidence because you have?
Yeah, I mean, it started off a year ago. My kind of one of the sort of challenges I set myself was to do more, was to learn how to become a public speaker.
Mm.
As a head teacher, I was always speaking on stage in terms of with parents and stuff. I didn't enjoy it, but I did it. Um, and it was just like, okay, at some point, with my vision of where I wanted to take the business in terms of impact on more young people, I'm going to need to be on some bigger stages. And with me, it's if I can do something if I feel confident, and I didn't feel confident at all. So I signed up to the Mic Drop Mic Drop Live residential. Loved it, found it terrifying to start with. Yeah,
Yeah,
even just kind of we had to introduce ourselves or tell a story for 10 minutes or something.
yeah,
And I very quickly, by the second day, because we were all working on our speeches, or our speeches, and my speech, I was nearly there with it. And then I just thought, you know what? This isn't me. I don't believe it. And so the main thing, and so I literally had 10 minutes to do it, and I did my on the bus, off the bus, and driving
yeah,
the bus, and all of that. But that came from the heart. And I think, as well as the amazing techniques in terms of the sort of general structure and the things you pull in and the pauses and all of that, which was fundamental to me growing that confident, it was about don't talk about something you don't feel passionate about, Bex, because I can't do it. I
yeah,
can't pretend. So that's kind of that journey. And so when I do have the opportunity now to speak, I do volunteer myself, as you will know, but that's to work on different audiences and with different audiences, but also to increase that confidence
yeah.
and not gabble, hopefully. But when I'm now invited to go and speak on stages linked to my passions and my vision with linked and young people, I just talk about why and what I'm doing and why it makes me light up, as you said.
Yeah, and I think you can tell that. I think, and I always say to people, if you can speak from the heart and speak with passion and take your audience along with you, because it's always about the audience, never about you as an individual.
Yeah.
If you show your passion for your topic and you're sharing something that they need to hear, they're with you all the way and they just want more of it. And I think you do light up when you talk about young people and the difference you want to make and how you want to help those educating young people as well. It just comes through so strongly now, whereas I never really got it when I first met you. But now you are definitely more Bex. And you can see Bex's personality coming out, and it's lovely to see. And you tell some amazing stories as well. The way you construct things and the modalities you use and the frameworks you use are so, so clever. And I think, gosh, I wish I could be a bit more Bex as well sometimes. But it's just lovely to see the growth in you. And so you've changed the business slightly, you've launched Roots, Leaves and Wings, and now the momentum with that is starting to build. And I'm seeing that both in you, your confidence, the way you come across when you're delivering, the confidence that you come across to the audience, and the fact that you're putting your hand up and saying, no, I'll do that. I'll have that. Even today, we were on a session earlier, saying, I'll speak. And it's lovely to see that. And it's lovely to see that you're throwing yourself in and putting yourself there. So, what do you think has been the catalyst for actually putting yourself forward now? And is it that you found your thing, or is it more that you're intentionally working on yourself?
I absolutely think it's both.
Yeah,
I think as a coach, I always talk to people about trying to step outside their comfort zone. And so you kind of, in order to understand what you're talking to other people, you kind of need to put yourself in that position, don't you? So there is those challenges to myself. But I think also I really love it. I really love speaking now. Um, and I like the reflection for myself because obviously there's always something I want to have done better, but I also love those light bulb moments that I see in people.
yeah,
So I think it is that, but I also think because of the people I've kind of surrounded myself and sort of the Amplify sort of program I'm on, but also some of the other amazing people that I've met kind of through that community. I no longer rush. I know where I want to go. And instead of dialing up my sunshine yellow and just saying, right, well, let's just do it now, I have a strategy for each line of kind of my vision and my passions. I have a strategy. And therefore, speaking on stage to start those conversations with different groups of people and to hear what they've got to say as well is a key part of that strategy. If I want to make more difference to more young people and those that support them, I need to reach more people. I need to be in more rooms and get to know more people. So that's why I do it.
Yeah. Oh, you're like the model pupil. So
My
proud, so
my
proud.
school teachers never said that, Sandra.
Um, so, one other thing I want to say, and we shared a day together recently on a photo shoot, and it's been amazing to see you start to having your photographs taken. And I think I remember the very first photo you sent me, which was probably an iPhone selfie or something like that. And to now seeing you using your photos that you're having, we both use the same photographer, John Cleary, who is amazing. And it's just to see you actually are enjoying having your photograph taken.
I do, and I think John sort of again working with John is fundamental of that, fundamental to that, just because of how he makes me feel.
Yeah.
And it's always so relaxed. But I think the key thing is, I'll be honest, I've purposely lost a lot of weight. Um, and that was a key part. I've always been inwardly confident, but externally I perhaps wasn't, and I'd have at least 10 fat days before I'd even got my shoes on. So that was kind of I needed to do that for myself if I wanted to get my
Mm.
message out further. So part of it is that, but it's also because I know why I'm having my photo. So when we go along with John, he, as you know, he encourages us to think about how we'll use it. And so therefore, when I go and have them, it's telling a story, it's telling different bits of my business. And I think, oh, I could use that for that, and I could use that for that. So my duck one recently is all about because there were no swans, it's all about the legs below the water, but also the wings. So that's why, because I know why there's a purpose to it.
Yeah, yeah. And, as we were going around talking about the different photos, we've learned how to plan ahead, think what we want, take our props with us.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful Brighton pools, and it was just lovely and a sunshining day. I was limping around with my bad ankle, but we still made it happen. But it was lovely to hear you actually saying, "Oh, I want this picture because I'm going to use it for," and then it was how you were going to portray that picture. And we were looking for roots on trees for the roots with
Yeah.
wings. It was just amazing, but it's been fantastic to watch you grow and to see that now you're starting to gather that momentum for everything you're trying to achieve or that you are achieving. So what's on the horizon?
Well, I've again through woman solopreneur, I met the wonderful Rose, who has introduced me into a whole new world. And so, having just been made a fellow of the IFIP, which is the Federation of Inclusion Practitioners, that's now going to enable me to get into some international rooms and start having those conversations with international decision makers around inclusion and how we can really make sustainable change globally, which is so exciting, so exciting. So that's kind of that, but also for Roots, Leaves and Wings, again, based on needs. It's been great seeing the enthusiasm for the curriculum, but the practitioners need support. And then through all my kind of chatting with parents, they also needed support. So my series of parent workbooks also is coming out, which I'm really excited about. And again, if it hadn't been for the lovely Shelley, who I met through your community, I'd have never even thought that Bex Howe would write a book. Do you know what I mean? So it is just really, really exciting. And every year it looks different, but next year it looks even more different, which is just, it keeps my sunshine yellow entertained.
I love your colours. You're definitely a sunshine yellow. Where can people find out more about your Bex? And we'll share it in the show notes anyway, but where's the go-to place to find out more
So
about you?
I mainly hang out in LinkedIn. On LinkedIn. I love reading all the posts and kind of and developing my network that way. Not for sales, but for my own learning, to be honest, and seeing what people do. So you can find me just through Bex Howe on LinkedIn, or you can go to my website, which we're currently redoing. So I probably would urge you not to go there until the start of September because you'd be confused, I think, because the business has changed so much in a year that we need to completely do that. So yeah, visit me in September on the website.
Okay, and I always ask my guests before they go to leave my audience with a mic drop moment, a piece of wisdom, a golden nugget, or a piece of advice. What would yours be?
I think I think it would be don't take criticism personally from anyone who you wouldn't also ask for advice.
I like that. Very
Because
good.
everyone criticizes, everyone's got an opinion, and that's part of being a human. However, I've learned the hard way. You can take people's opinions to heart when actually they really, in the nicest possible way, they don't matter.
Yeah, that's a really great piece of advice. Well, it's been fantastic chatting to you today, Bex. That's Bex Howe from How To Consultancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.